And welcome, kings and queens. It's funny because if you could see me now, I am smiling from the inside out. I really do enjoy engaging with you all. I want to thank each and every one of you for being supportive in the way that you have been and helping me to get to 2,000 subs in less than 2 months. So thank you all for tuning in. I do not take your attention for granted. And I just wanted to say that. I'm Queen Shiba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the behavioral and the psychological traits of the Black experience. Today, fasten your seatbelt, sit back, relax, honey, because we are talking Carlos King and the questionable antics of Carlos King. Listen, as content creators, it is so important to follow your instincts and stick to doing what you do best. There is value in what we do, and here's why I say that. First off, a tremendous showcase of gratitude from me to the House of Aaron for showing up in your interview and asking Kandi the questions that you did in the way that you did. And because you stuck to your script, because you stuck to your playbook, you asked questions that no one else asked. And because of your efforts and your work, Aaron, I am able to do this video, so thank you so much. So let's jump right into it.
This is not a drill. This is not a drill.
Dear Carlos, a few weeks ago, I started doing commentary, honing in on the emotional damage in the way you depicted Black women in the entertainment industry. Now, don't get me wrong, Carlos. We all love a bit of entertainment. And we know that some drama is absolutely necessary. But I felt like not only were you pushing the envelope, but in some cases you knocked it off the table. Instinctively, I felt as if there were a lack of boundaries in place when it came down to how far you were willing to go for entertainment, how far you were willing to go for profit. And not only that, off the back of Black women. And some of the stuff I was seeing being played out on national television, I got to keep it real. It didn't sit right with me. So Carlos, my question to you is, where do you go from here? The reason I ask is because after the House of Aaron released his video interview with Kandi Burruss, I feel like my suspicions have been confirmed. Carlos, you're coming across as if Black women are something to use, to gain profit off of, and to dangle in front of millions of viewers for entertainment. Let's take a look at the video.
People think that you and Carlos King have a beef, including me, because then you went on to the speak on it and somebody asked you about Carlos and you were like, we're not cool. And it wasn't like, it's like no beef or nothing. It's like something had happened. So my question is, what had happened?
Oh my gosh.
Do we have time? Because this is like
another person that I think, he's another person that I think, when they say I've tried to help people and then it comes back to bite me in the ass. Okay, so first of all, the main reason, my main issue with Carlos is he is the one who stole my group's life story and sold it to TV One. And for that, I just can't get past it. He had been working with us that entire season on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Last year he was with us. Him and Ty had already had some little issues, business issues, because they were doing a production company together. So they already had some things they had dealt with personally. But, we was trying to move past that and still work together on the show because he was executive producing. What season was that? 9 or whatever?
Yes.
And he was his last year. Okay. So let's say the season wrapped in November. In December, someone tells me, I was talking to a friend. I was like, hey, we should do like a movie about, our escape's life or whatever. And they were like, it was a director that Todd and I were speaking. And they was like, somebody's already doing it. And I was like, what you mean somebody's doing it? And so in my mind, I'm thinking it was one of my group members or something. And they was like, yeah, it's a network that's already I took a meeting about directing it. And I was like, what? Now, mind you, just wrapped season 9. The season in the top of December or November, end of November right there. December, I'm hearing that this movie has been sold to a network. So I come to find out a couple weeks later, I'm trying to find out what is going on, and come to find out it was, in sidebar, his other producing partner, one of the producers that worked for him, who was also at the time I thought was super cool, had called my mom, was like, oh yeah, we want to do a interview you because we're trying to do a documentary about girl groups or something. So we want to ask you questions about, Escape. My mom was going to do it or whatever, but come to find out, he was the person who had did the deal with TV One to sell our life story. He was, and my mom and was going to try to ask my mother questions about us unknowingly to get more information, I guess, for the show. So anyway, I just thought that was the lowest thing that anybody could ever do.
Wait, so how did he have the rights to your story?
He didn't have the rights to our story. What I found out, because of course, I was calling lawyers and everything, and I found out at the time that when you're a public figure, people can do
unauthorized.
They can do unauthorized stories about you. Right. And at the time, we had already done behind the music type of thing on TV One or whatever. Okay. No, TV One. Remember, how they Unsung, yeah. So they had certain information that I guess they could base the movie off of. But my thing was, I was like, never once, all them years we have been around each other, he had never once told me that he was trying to do a movie about us, and to be able and to go behind my back and to do that, and that's our life story.
Right.
I was like, I can't fuck with him ever again.
Wow.
I did not want to. I did reach out to him at first. He didn't answer the phone because I had just heard it, so I wasn't sure that it was him. So I was calling him and be like, yo, like, what is this? He didn't answer my calls. But then when we did some things to start like reaching out to the network to try to get the whole situation shut down, then all of a sudden he reaches out to me. And I didn't want to talk after that. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't ever have to talk to you again. And that's just how I feel. I'm like, that is the lowest of the low. Our first spinoff was the wedding, or one of them. I think our spinoff was the first show that he was executive producer for. I literally fought for him to be executive producer of my show, to be the lead executive producer. Right. So for you to have somebody that you went out for, and I always respected him as a producer, to do that to me, I was like, I have no respect for him. Oh. And so for him to now, every time he turn around, he got something to say about me, I'm like, I just give him no energy. But that right there, my life story, that shit gets me, makes me emotional, and it pisses me off. So yeah, I don't have nothing for him. Nothing. Like, how could you do that to somebody? You're around him every day.
We don't know each other. Like, even if you wanted to do it, be like, be upfront about it. Like, I'm doing this.
Upfront.
What you think?
Yeah. He could have asked, like, if anything, I would have just asked me, like, hey, how do you feel? It's an opportunity or whatever. Like to just do that and not say anything. Wow. And I had to hear in the streets.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, cut off.
Kandi.
Never again.
All right. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts as you watch and you hear the emotion in Kandi's voice because she felt betrayed? No, you know what? Not even feeling betrayed. That's a fact. That's a fact at this point. She was betrayed from a quote unquote friend. What are your thoughts about it? Drop it in the comments, because this is one that we need to talk about together. I feel like maybe some of you can offer a different perspective. Now back to the letter. Dear Carlos, we saw it and we heard it from the source. I believe her. There is no reason to lie or throw anyone under the bus. Kandi's track record of charity and giving speaks for itself. Not only has she shined in her engagement with the Black community, but she's equally well-rounded in helping others become successful. She helped Marlo work out a TV One deal, or work out a deal with TV One. But she said Marlo showed her ass and the folks over there didn't want to work with her. She put her family on with the restaurants and stuff. She hired them to expand their opportunities in life. But hold up. She went to bat, according to Kandi, and you can watch the full interview. The full interview. I just gave you snippets for the purpose of today's conversation on my platform, but you can go to Aaron's page and watch the full interview. She went to bat for Carlos to help him make a name for himself because she actually believed that they were friends. Imagine that. Imagine that. And I know some of you probably are thinking about a time that maybe you've been betrayed or backstabbed by a friend. Damn. Right? Kandi seems to be fair, in my opinion. Because if she was not fair, she wouldn't have cleaned up the rumor about Carlos feeding Phaedra a lie. So we know she's fair because an unfair person would have left it out there. She don't owe you nothing, bro. You betrayed her. She could have given you the same energy, but she didn't. She didn't leave it out there. She did the right thing. She cleaned it up. You know what? Let me ask y'all this and share it in the comments. Have you noticed how Carlos claims to be really good friends with the women or with women who have large platforms? But my question to that is, dear Carlos, with friends like you, who needs enemies? Kandi thought you were her friend. She stepped up and she requested that you and only you be allowed to produce her show. You had an office in her building or an office in the same building. That's how close she thought y'all were. And you did all of that to snake her. So again, Carlos, my question to you is, where do you go from here? Again, dear Carlos, how do you explain plotting to sell her life story as her friend? Smiling in that woman's face. So much so, she trusted you. She trusted you. Now, let me be clear. I think we all realize that she's a public figure and she's fair game. So what that means is when you're a public figure, anybody could make a documentary about you or, try to gain some type of notoriety off of you. That's fine. I think we all understand that are tuned in today. But that's some shit that you just don't do to a friend. And that's the problem we have, Carlos. Some folks may be scared to say it. I'm a small channel. I'm not. Carlos, that was low down. Here's something about time that my grandmother told me. If you wait and if you give it enough time, it will always reveal to you who a person really is. All you have to do is sit back and wait. I'm not letting you off the hook. Dear Carlos, how do you explain having someone in your camp reach out to her mother, for God's sake, to have her mother appear on the show and give history or interview and give you insight into the life of Kandi? Y'all, that's a different kind of betrayal. That's almost like, that's crazy. But what do you think? I don't want to be one-sided here. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about it. Let's go through some of these comments. So again, my question is, dear Carlos, where do you go from here? You cozied up to her for years. You gained her trust. You smiled in her face every day. You worked with her on set. She got you a promotion. She requested you, which allowed you to gain more hands-on experience as a senior producer. You got in an office in the same building, all under the guise of friendship. Hell, I would hate to see you mad if that's what friendship looks like. And the entire time you're plotting, gathering information, listening to her goals and her aspirations that she shared with you about making a show about her life. And you take it. You didn't even wait a year. You took that girl's idea. You didn't say a word about it to her. You didn't run it by her and say, hey, friend, I was just thinking about this. Now, girl, if you're not going to make a move on it, you know I can for you. And you sold it. You ignored her calls when she tried to call and confront you. Carlos, dear Carlos, you've got some explaining to do. I know a lot of people don't like Monique, and Monique often rubs me the wrong way because she needs to pick a side when it comes to friendships. But Monique Samuels hinted at something when she said she felt used for entertainment. When she transitioned from Bravo to Love and Marriage DC, she shared that Carlos told her one thing about how the show was going to go and did the complete opposite. It's my sincere hope. I'm a huge supporter of Melody Hope. It's my sincere hope that Melody is paying attention. because Kandi isn't lying. And in the words of the late Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, believe them.